Since this morning, Tunisia has been in great shock. The president, Beji Caid Essebsi, 92 years old, died this Thursday at the Tunis military hospital, where he had been admitted in intensive care in late morning. Global economic recovery under discussion on Thursday. The European Central Bank experts plan to lower rates through debt buybacks. The measure should be approved in September. And in cycling sport, the world champion Alejandro Valverde extended his contract with the Movistar team until the end of 2021 before his reconversion. That's all for our top stories today. Stay tuned for more details in this newscast. First democratically elected president in 2014, 3 years after the ousting of Zine El Abidine Ben Ali, Beji Caid Essebsi died a few months before the end of his presidential term. In April 2019, he had already given up running for a second term, preferring to, quote, leave the place to the young. Born on November 29, 1926 in Sidi Bou Said with a bourgeois family of Tunis farmers, the young Essebsi is marked from the age of 12 by the events of April 9, 1938 riots, in which protesters called for reforms to end the French protectorate. Later, the young man joined the youth of the Neo Detour under the leadership of Habib Bourguiba, a socialist political party working for the withdrawal of France from Tunisia territory. He fulfilled his first political commitments in France, becoming vice president of the North African Muslim Students Association and an active member of the resistance against the French protectorate. In 1956, Beji Caid Essebsi dived into the mysteries of power. Close to Habib Bourguiba, who became president in 1957, he was appointed director of national security following a plot against him. He later became Deputy Secretary of State for the Interior to Minister Taib Mehri before replacing him following his death in 1965. In charge of the Regalan Ministry, he managed the Six-Day War and the Belkoja affair and was again appointed in the government of Bahi Ladgam as Minister of Defense. After the coup d'etat of 7th November 1987, Beji Caid Essebsi entered the government under the presidency of Ben Ali. He served as Minister of the Interior and Speaker of the Tunisian National Assembly before once again distancing himself from power. After the Arab Spring Revolution in 2011, he made his comeback by becoming Prime Minister of the Provisional Post-Revolutionary Government on February 27th, leaving Hamadi Jebali on December 24th. In 2012, he founded his own party, Nida Tunis, a heterogeneous party made up of businessmen, intellectuals, trade unionists, left-wing militants, but also close to the former regime determined to block the Islamists of Ennahda. The young political party won the 2014 parliamentary elections. First president directly elected in the history of Tunisia, Beji Caid Essebsi, who led Tunisia on the path to democracy, was the oldest serving head of state after Elizabeth II and Malaysian President Mahathir Mohamad. His death leaves the presidency vacant and periods of tensions in prospect. And just a few hours after the death of President Beji Caid Essebsi, the president of the parliament was sworn in and becomes the interim president of Tunisia. The man was born on 21st March 1934 in El Jem. Mohamed El Nasser is the one who will act as the Tunisian president. A Tunisian diplomat and statesman, he was twice Minister of Social Affairs under President Habib Bourguiba in Noura and Mzali governments. After the 2011 revolution, he took office again between January and December the same year in the National Unity Government of Mohamed Ghannouchi and then in that of Beji Caid Essebsi. In 2014, he was elected president of the new Assembly of People's Representatives. According to the constitution, he can act for 45 to 90 days. The presidential election in Tunisia, originally scheduled for 17th November, will also be anticipated. I appeal to the Tunisian people to fuse together in order to continue the march towards further development and meet the expectations of the people, the interim president said on national television. The conditions for running for the elections were amended in June by the parliament, but the draft law had not been promulgated by the head of state. The Prime Minister has declared 7 days of national mourning and has announced the cancellation of cultural performances and festivals. The interim Tunisian president embodies the continuity of the late head of state Beji Caid Essebsi, with whom he was close. And Nasser is also the founder of El Jem Festival, his hometown on the East Coast, which annually hosts concerts by renowned artists in an amphitheater dating back to ancient Roman times.
We are the party of the many, we are the party of the many, and they are the party of the...
In his speech before members of the English Parliament for the first time as head of the British government, Boris Johnson urges the European Union to reconsider his current refusal to amend the withdrawal agreement while unequivocally guaranteeing the rights of the European Union nationals living in the United Kingdom.
I would prefer us to leave the EU with a deal. I would much prefer it. I believe that it is possible even at this late stage, and I will work flat out to make it happen.
To honor the promise made to the British people, the head of government said he was ready to leave the European Union without agreement in October, but hopes that the institution will agree to review the terms of the agreement before that date.
For our part, we will throw ourselves into these negotiations with the greatest energy and determination and in a spirit of friendship. And I hope that the EU will be equally ready and that they will rethink their current refusal to make any changes to the withdrawal agreement.
A no-deal Brexit remains something the British are reluctant about, despite their desire to quit the European Union. Rarely will a summer meeting have been surrounded by such suspense distilled by the monetary institution itself against an economic picture made up of languishing inflation, sluggish growth, and persistent trade tensions. The European Central Bank President Mario Draghi made several proactive speeches in June and mentioned a possible fall in rates among a lot of additional stimulus measures possible unless good surprises illuminate the economic environment. But nothing like this has happened, and for investors, the case is heard. The next move of the institute will be to lower the cost of credit left since March 2016 to its historic low, and not to bring it up as expected a few months ago. Only the Board of Governors of the Monetary Institute should lead this Thursday a final discussion before starting. The markets anticipate that the institute will lower its deposit rate, which is now used as a benchmark on the market, to 0.50% from 0.40% today at its meeting on 12 September, some experts say. Some observers believe that the ECB will wait for its new set of economic forecasts in September before unveiling everything at all once. A fall in interest rate and a resumption of net debt redemptions closed at the end of 2018 after having raised 2,600 billion euros in private and public bonds since 2015. Reviewing the ongoing projects financed by the World Bank, but also taking stock of other projects to be carried out in future. This is the purpose of the visit in Gabon by Abdoulaye Sheikh, the new country representative of the banking institution, who went to present himself to the Minister of Investment, Promotion of Public and Private Partnerships on Wednesday. The objective is clear: to foster the transformation of the country by further promoting private partners' investments through improving the business environment. Fidel Otando has understood it well, since in the next few days, a series of meetings is planned with several private partners from all sectors. The Movistar World Champion signs for 2 more seasons, the team announced in a statement. He will continue to enjoy riding his bike with the riders in blue jerseys until he is 41 years old. The Merchant will also remain under contract until at least 2024. With 125 victories since the start of his career in 2002, the Spanish puncher has racked up one of the best records in modern cycling, despite a 2-year suspension from the Puerto doping case in 2010. winner in particular of the Tour of Spain 2009, and many classics such as Liège-Bastogne-Liège with 4 successes. Valverde was crowned with his world title last autumn in Australia. One of his ultimate goals is now the Olympic title at the Tokyo Games next year. In an interview given in March to the Catalan daily El Periódico, Valverde had anticipated that he would retire in 2021. Since this morning, Tunisia has been in great shock. The president, Béji Caïd Essebsi, 92 years old, died this Thursday at the Tunis military hospital, where he had been admitted in intensive care in late morning. Global economic recovery under discussion on Thursday. The European Central Bank experts plan to lower rates through debt buybacks. The measure should be approved in September. And in cycling sport, the world champion Alejandro Valverde extended his contract with the Movistar team until the end of 2021 before his reconversion. That's the end of our newscast of the day, but keep watching G24 for further news.